Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. XRP over the last few days or so has mostly been trading sideways after a notable pump. In fact, it wasn't long ago. I don't know if I remember if it was a week and a half, whatever it's been, but XRP was at 52 cents. I feel sorry for the people that panic sold down there. But within the last hour or so, actually, we have seen a little bit of a spike, but we're still range-bound. It does seem there hasn't been in this short time period an additional exciting surge like several days or so ago when XRP increased in 1 hour about 15%. But those instances are always fun. But in this video, I want to share with you perspective from a few analysts about what to expect directionally in terms of Bitcoin price action, because Bitcoin does lead the market. XRP will follow along with the rest of the crypto asset class, I personally believe. And did you know that, at least according to one analyst, it's no longer just whales that are purchasing? Now, thinking about it logically, it's not that surprising, I suppose, because once the market starts going back up, even the small guys that just emotionally buy and sell, they might start to feel a little bit more confident, even if they panic. So, oh, it's going back up. Oh, maybe it is okay, because these lemmings, one after another off the cliff always, they just, whatever's happening in the moment, that's what it's going to be forever. They feel the emotion associated with that, and they buy or sell accordingly. That's just, it's very ridiculous, but this is what humans do. There's so much evidence of this, that humans behave like this in the stock market and in crypto. It's silly. But so that's happening, and you know what else is happening, and everybody in crypto should love this. The crypto population, if you will, has dramatically increased this year, but to an insane degree. So I want to run through the specifics with you. But I also want to be clear at the outset, I don't have a financial background of any kind. I'm not offering financial advice, and you should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos purely as a hobby about Ripple and XRP and crypto, but that is all that's going on here. As I record this, XRP is at 76 cents, and it did get up to, let's see, 77.5 cents just within the last, what, roughly hour or so? Yeah. Oh, by the way, I guess for frame of reference, I can mention this. It is 11:59 p.m. So there we go. It's still July 31st. And so this is... Oh, that's Central Standard Time. I should mention that too. I'm in the Midwest in the United States. And so anyway, it's good to see little bumps up no matter what. Fine. I guess I'll take the tiniest of victories. But still, it's going to be inconsequential at this point. Like, it's just range-bound, and at some point... you do get legs up, and there's no indication that this is one of them. But we just had one within the last few days that was notable enough. And now, check this out, too. The Crypto Fear and Greed Index, it's at the same level as yesterday. Not terribly surprising. It is at 60 out of 100, indicating that the market is now in greed. The market is no longer fearful. So is it a surprise that even the unsophisticated retail speculators are now accumulating XRP and Bitcoin and everything else under the sun? Now, here's a tweet from Credible Crypto. This one was actually from June 28th, rather, sorry, June 28th, so a little over a month ago. And he wrote the following. He's talking about Bitcoin. If we can break $35,000 to $38,000, I'm looking for a move to $45,000 to $55,000. If we can get to $55,000, I'll look to hedge short. I know if we manage to get there, many will be euphoric, calling for new all-time high, when in reality, that region is the most likely place to see a mid-term rejection. Have a plan, Bitcoin. And then just a few days ago, he retweeted that and wrote, buying dips for the ride to $45,000 to $55,000. Now, mind you, when he was saying this, he's talking about this for the portion of his holdings that are for trading. My understanding is that the strong majority of what he owns in terms of crypto, he just long-term holds, and he doesn't try and time markets, period, with it. That my understanding is that's the strong majority of his holdings, actually. And so for most people, it's very clear, the data's out there, it's very clear. People that are traders, the vast majority of them are losing money. So he may be the outlier, and for all the small percentage that actually make money doing this, trading in stocks or crypto, whatever, I'm impressed. I genuinely mean that. Thumbs up for you. But for the typical person trying to jump into trading, I just think it's a horrible idea. The typical individual is going to lose money. I'm not interested in even trying it. I have zero interest, because data tells me that if I'm just more patient than everyone else, the people that are patient and don't trade and don't try and time markets, they do better. So even if you don't consider yourself a trader, if you are part of the typical stereotypical retail speculator class, just know that they are getting in and out of positions. They're like, this isn't doing anything. What's happening? Oh my gosh, I'm just sitting to the opportunity cost. Something else went up and I could have had my money in there. These are the types of things that go through their heads, and this is what gets them wrecked. Again, data is very clear on this. In the stock market and in crypto, holders do better than people that frequently get in and out of positions. It's just fact. So if you think you're going to be the outlier, just know that depending on the study you look at, 90 to 95% of traders lose money. And then the rest of them, so the 5 to 10%, whatever it is, that make money, it doesn't mean they're making a fortune. They could be making very, very, very small amounts. So just food for thought. And so on that, somebody named CryptoFee95 asked Credible Crypto, what is the rationale behind the hedge short at $55,000? Because indeed, Credible Crypto did say, hey, just in terms of if you're a trader hedging short, what if Bitcoin gets to that level, you're talking about $55,000, probably going to have a pullback. And so why even bother highlighting this if I'm saying it's not good, in my opinion anyway, you do whatever you want, but I'm saying it's not good to be a trader for the typical person. Why would I even cite this? Because he's talking about trading there. Well, the reason is even holders have emotions. And so if you can just arm yourself with knowledge and be aware of what might potentially happen, I think it reduces the emotions that you would feel if that ends up happening, because it's just a game of probabilities. And so arm yourself with knowledge, because the biggest impediment to anyone gaining wealth in crypto is themselves. It really is, because it's just the emotions that wreck people. You see all these people that panic sold XRP down at 11 cents last year. How's that working out for them? It ran up to $2 this year. And I know there was a pullback, but it's crypto. It's volatile. But still, it from 11 cents, now it's sitting at, 76 cents as I record this? It doesn't make logical sense, and nothing was fundamentally different in terms of the long-term viability of crypto. There was just a global panic in crypto, which was led by the stock market tanking as a result of the pandemic in March of last year. It's not about logic and facts for these people. And so if you can be in the minority that recognizes that, you have a major leg up investing in crypto and in investing in the stock market. So again, this is not me telling you to buy or sell or hold anything, just in a general sense, understand these things, and you really do have a leg up. I firmly believe that. And so Credible Crypto wrote, a major area of supply/resistance where sellers are likely to step in. This is talking about the $55,000 level. If we are going to see another major rejection, it should be from this region. And then somebody named Ali asked Credible Crypto, if we get rejected at those levels, do you expect us to go below our low of 28,800 or 29,300? Credible Crypto says, it's possible, but I think it makes more sense for us to make a higher low after rejection. And so again, these people are not wizards, these chart analysts, and Credible Crypto is a fantastic one. It's about probability of outcomes. Sometimes the improbable happens. It doesn't mean that they're not getting things right for a substantial portion of the time. Here's chart analyst Love Crypto sharing his thoughts on Bitcoin. $43,700 to $46,000 is a major supply zone. If Bitcoin flips that on a weekly basis, ideally to consecutive weekly candles above $46,000, that would be very bullish. Alternatively, if Bitcoin fails here, this would be nothing but a bearish retest, and the $34,000 to $36,000 levels would be a magnet at that point. And so, even he's saying, if that happens, that you're not going to be seeing this $20,000 or $29,000 level again. Because with where we're at right now, it does seem perhaps probable at this point that even if you wick down a bit, I bet you volume swoops in and starts snatching up what they perceive to be cheap Bitcoin. And relatively speaking, they could be right. Maybe that is pretty damn cheap. And here's a tweet from chart analyst Michael Vandepop, and he's talking about the Ethereum/BTC pair. And although I know nobody's tuning in to hear about Ethereum, I'm sure some of you hold it. I happen to hold it, but I wanted to highlight this because it's just another indication from a chart analyst that things are looking positive. And so he wrote, Ethereum is still looking fine here on the Bitcoin pair for a breakout in August. And some of you may recall that just yesterday when I made a video about price, that he indicated that it's his belief that most of the altcoins out there have already bottomed. So yes, there's still a bit of range-bound action here. Some have started to move up a bit. But yeah, it's just a matter of time. Wait for the whole asset, first wait for Bitcoin to move, and then the rest of the asset class to move in tandem. Nothing has changed. The whole market has been moving together since inception. Period. And there's no indication that's changing right now or that it's going to change anytime soon. I don't know when it's going to change or how quickly that change will occur, but I do believe that change, whenever it does happen, it's going to be a result of there being clearer winners in the crypto asset class, additional altcoins that are solving real problems being adopted based on utility. And once it becomes clearer which coins are going to, then yeah. And so even with XRP being one of the few cryptocurrencies that's functionally used in enterprise grade software, which is absolutely fantastic. It's only, and this isn't to mention, like, I'm impressed by what Ripple has done in positioning XRP, but it truthfully only open in a handful of corridors. But it does take a while to get things rolling with the adoption of any new technology. So this is not some sort of turnoff. At some point, you do reach a point where things just go exponentially up. And so that's what we're looking for. If our theory is right that XRP makes sense as a bridge currency, then it'll keep going that direction. And there's a reason that we've seen hundreds of companies jump on board RippleNet and dozens of companies jump on board on-demand liquidity utilizing XRP as a bridge currency. And there's two primary reasons that there aren't more than a few dozen. It's because of regulatory uncertainty, including with cryptocurrency exchanges. I think that's fair to say. But also, this is an even stronger stop, perhaps. There's just not enough liquidity. There isn't. Like, people have to be selling massive quantities of XRP the world over. And so if you have a sufficient blend of price and liquidity, then you can handle larger transactions in greater volume, for sure. But we're just not there yet. So again, that's not some sort of harsh critique. That's just an acknowledgement of reality, and that's perfectly okay, though. Here's a tweet that the blockchain backer shared, actually, and I found it interesting, so I wanted to share this and say a couple things about this. This is from an individual named Daniel Lacal, who I'm not familiar with, but he's got quite a following, 106,000 followers here on Twitter. He's an economist, an author, PhD, and he wrote the following, and he's got a chart here. I'll make this chart full screen for briefly, at least, so you can see it, but let me read what he wrote first. He wrote, "Fiscal cliff. Since 1960, the United States Congress has raised the debt ceiling 78 times. The debt ceiling has never been reduced." And so here's the chart that he shared right there. And so a couple things on this. This is a pitch for crypto. This is one of many pitches for crypto. Reckless government spending. And if you think at some point this isn't going to catch up, like, we can literally just keep spending endlessly, printing trillions of dollars, and at some point this isn't going to be problematic, like, you're living in fantasy land. So I'm not saying this is going to happen necessarily soon. I don't know when it might. I don't know if it's going to happen during my lifetime. I'm just saying that we've seen the debasement of fiat currencies in the past, and we know how the story ends. If there isn't a correction, things are going to get really, really, really messy at some point. Now, with the US dollar being the global reserve, it would take a lot for some sort of collapse. It'd be easier to treat, or easier for a fiat currency in a third world country to collapse if treated like this. But, it's held by central banks the world over. It's like, what would it take to actually tank the dollar? Like, frankly, you'd have to have central banks the world over, like, start dumping the dollar, probably. Like what else is, because they've got vested interest right now, and so, like, who's going to be the first to do that too? And then geopolitically, what does that mean? So, like, there are incentives for central banks to not do that, but at some point somebody's going to cry uncle, and then this whole thing's just going to fall apart. And again, I don't pretend to know exactly when here, and also I want to say this too: if you're in the United States, the next time the government, and I'm not talking about state and local governments, but the next time the federal government comes to you and says, we want to raise taxes on you, you know what you should do is you should ask them, why are you asking me to do with less when you, Mr. Government, don't ever do with less? Look at this damn chart right here. And so debt and deficit are different things. And so what we're talking about here is the actual debt limit. And if you follow the news at all, you may notice from time to time that there's a debt limit that is hit, and then there's this political game jockeying back and forth between Democrats and Republicans. And then there's threats of shutting down the government, which apparently the optics are really bad. I hear that, I'm just like, okay, well, they're spending too much anyway. Like, you got to cut. It's like, for me, it just strikes me differently. But apparently the public freaks out, and it just, the optics of it are very bad. And it's, by the way, it's not like core services go away. You're talking about workers at perhaps, federal this or that, parks, museums, whatever it may be. But it's not like the military is just like going home because there's a debt ceiling limit hit. Like that is not what's happening here, just to be clear. And so it's used as a political opportunity. These debt ceilings are, and so they're hit, and then the public cries out, and then the debt ceiling is raised yet again, and the underlying problems that result in the debt limit needing to be increased are never fixed. And that has to do with not having a balanced budget. So you're running deficits every year. It's been forever ago since we actually had a balanced budget. And so when we're talking about deficit spending, we're talking about on an annual basis. When we're talking about debt, it's the total accumulation of how much the United States government has overspent. But as far as deficit, we're talking about annual budgets typically, and they're just spending more than they're taking in. Now, can you run your household like that? No, you cannot. But the United States government is getting away with this. And so they keep spending more than they're taking in completely irresponsibly, keep bumping up the debt limit here. And then they want, from time to time, more money from you, Mr. Taxpayer. You do with less while we continue to spend into oblivion, and we debase the United States dollar. So they want money from you, and they also want to print more dollars, which reduces the purchasing power of the United States dollar. It's simple supply and demand right there, which is disgusting. So this all is a tremendous pitch for crypto. So just next time somebody says on a federal level, I'm not talking local and state, those dynamics could be different, but on a federal level, if somebody says, oh, here's the case for raising the debt, to be like, okay, well, show them this chart, and there are other great charts to show too. How come they don't have to do with less and they're asking me to do with less? Does that sound fair? It's completely irresponsible and reckless. You can't run your household like this, but this is how the government is treating things. Here's a tweet from chart analyst Willy Woo, who's one of the most popular analysts in the space, with a 641,000 followers, and I found this fascinating. What makes the last 8 consecutive days very special from an on-chain perspective is that everyone is buying, from shrimps to whales. We've not seen a pattern like this looking back 10 years. Who is selling? Speculative inventory on exchanges are depleting. Now, that's amazing. Going back 10 years, and he is a data guy. Going back 10 years, we've not seen something like that. Well, that was surprising to me enough where I was like, okay, I got to share this. Now, the idea of shrimps starting to purchase again, that in and of itself isn't surprising necessarily, because if things have really bottomed out and we're starting to see people get back into greed, yeah, well, then you would expect not just the larger entities purchasing, but also the smaller guys. And so everybody's now agreeing that things are going to move to the upside. That's what market sentiment shows. Whether or not that happens is a different story. But this is the market sentiment to this point. So that in and of itself didn't surprise me. And so many people are pouring into this space. So much new money. And this is why I keep talking about, like, you don't need a ton of money coming in to have a tremendous multiplier effect for the assets that are being bought up here. They're just so illiquid. And the concept is simple. How much money does it take flowing into a market cap where, like, let's just say I throw a $20 bill on a table and the market cap right there is $20. There's a $20 bill, market cap $20. I'm just making this up on the table. If you want to double that market cap, how much money would have to flow in, right? We've all got it in our pocket, right? Throw down another 20. Whoa, 100% increase. Well, that didn't take much. And so that's because there's no liquidity on that table. And so to triple it from $20 to triple that, again, almost no money. And so the crypto asset class on the whole, minuscule. What I say it was at the beginning of the video. Let me pull it up again. I think I said it, or did I not? Maybe it's 1.7 trillion right now. Maybe I failed to say that. Bitcoin dominance is at 46.12%. So 1.7 trillion, and out of that, XRP its market cap is $35 billion. How much money has to flow into XRP to get it to double from 35 to 70 billion? The answer is, to be clear, not an additional $35 billion. You don't have to double the amount of money coming in to double the market cap, because the price starts getting bid up. Barely any money needs to come in to have substantially higher prices, which is one of the coolest things that people just don't recognize. Which is why, if you're talking about actual trillions of dollars flowing into the space, and then it still gets bid up on top of that, if there's like $1 trillion flowing in, it's not going to be an increase in market cap of just $1 trillion in the space. It could be 7, 8, 9, 10 trillion. That would be realistic. It depends on how quickly prices get bid up, but we know in crypto they do get bid up quickly. So that's why I keep saying here, guys, like, even with a small percentage of humans on the planet doing what they've done, we've already got a $1.7 trillion market cap. So how many humans are in the space? Take a look at this. This is from Cointelegraph. Crypto population doubled to over 200 million users since January, report says. Cryptocurrency adoption has seen an accelerated growth this year, with the global crypto population doubling since January, according to a new report. Major digital asset company Crypto.com released its latest study on measuring global cryptocurrency users on Thursday, discovering that the number of crypto users worldwide has more than doubled from 100 million to 100 million in January to 221 million in June. Let me pause right there. So it's estimated there's about 7.8 billion humans on the planet. And now we know, according to this, that 221 million of the 7.8 billion humans on the planet have bought crypto. That comes out to, I believe it was, you can double check me on this, I believe it was 2.8% of humans ever have bought crypto. Think about that. And before that, it was already at, what? So, about half that. So you could just cut that in half, say, just ballpark and say about 1.4% of humans, as of the beginning of this year. So about doubled. And so think about this. Even fewer people have been in XRP. Last time that XRP had its major run, last market cycle from 20-something cents to $4, the best estimate I can give you is that about 0.001% of humans on the planet had ever held XRP at any point in time. And so before the run, it was like 700,000 humans. And then it got up to close to 1 million by the time the XRP hit its top, close to $4. But what I'm saying is, like, barely any humans participated, and it ran up that high. So what do you think's going to happen as more humans come in, and you get this doubling, tripling of effect in crypto very quickly, and you're talking about assets that are finite. Like XRP, it's coded in, it's deflationary. There's a finite, XRP is scarce. It ran up to $4 with almost no humans on the planet having ever held it. That's insane. That's absolutely insane. And then if you understand how little money has to come in to get the price of XRP and other cryptos to get bid up very quickly, that's why there's so much opportunity here. And I don't know if the average person sufficiently appreciates that. I don't know if they know it, but it is true. That is what's happening here. And on top of that, XRP is functionally useful. So I'm sitting here looking at this, I'm just like, the rest of the world doesn't know yet. I'm glad they're so fortunate to be here this early. That's exactly how I look at it. Anyway, the piece continues. The firm pointed out that crypto adoption has been growing rapidly this year, as it only took 4 months to nearly double the crypto population from 106 million in February to 203 million in May. For comparison, it took 9 months for the number of global users to reach 100 million from 65 million since Crypto.com started tracking crypto adoption levels. Excuse me. The results show that Bitcoin and the second most valued cryptocurrency, Ether, have been losing their market shares in terms of the composition of crypto owners, while the number of users holding other digital assets has been steadily growing. The study also found that a massive surge in crypto users this year came alongside some notable growth in the popularity of altcoins or cryptocurrencies other than Bitcoin. According to Crypto.com's findings, the altcoin adoption was likely spurred by the influx of new users interested in altcoins like Doge and Shiba token, amid Elon Musk's criticism of Bitcoin mining over its alleged environmental harm. And so whatever brings people in the space, it's fine. Like, you know what brought me into the space? I've mentioned this a handful of times. I was reading an article. It popped up just as I was browsing news stories. And so this was November 2017, not in crypto. And the story, it was about Ethereum, and I don't remember the specifics, but I could find the story again. I know how to find it. But it was about how Ethereum, I think it was an exchange that had been hacked, if I'm not mistaken. It's been so many years at this point, but I believe it was an exchange was hacked and a bunch of Ether was taken. I didn't even know what the hell any of that meant, but it piqued my interest. And so I looked into it a little bit further, and strangely enough, this seemingly negative and scary news led me to that day purchase my first crypto ever, which was Ethereum. And then after that, it was on Coinbase, and then after that I purchased Litecoin, and then I purchased Bitcoin, all three in one day. And I didn't know anything about it, and you could think that's reckless, but it was a very small amount, and it was part of my learning process. To me, learning included not just doing research, but also participating, and that meant taking a small risk, even though I didn't know what I was getting into, just to learn. But it was nothing that, if it went away, I was like, yeah, whatever. I mean, I think I only spent that very first day like a few $100 or something like that. It was nothing crazy. So again, it really was just a test. And so anyway, it's just kind of funny, like it's like something that sounds like so negative and scary, like that's what kind of led me into the space. But really, whatever leads you, whether it's Dogecoin, and then you find out about other stuff, there's going to be a certain percentage of humans that are intellectually curious and start looking through, and they're like, huh, what about all these other 8,000 plus coins? Might any of them be useful? Which is kind of what I started at. I remember researching, not incredibly in depth, but over the next several weeks. I mean, I spent a lot of time researching every day, but I went, in terms of market cap, I went one by one, like one from the next to the next to the next in terms of market cap, just researching each individual one. And I got to XRP, which at that point must have been, I'd have to look back, it's probably, I don't know if it was 3 or 4 in market cap, but probably. And I was like, wait a minute. And in my initial just quick research, I was like, wait a minute. So there's actually, this thing could be used for something? And I was like, okay, put a pin in that one. I'm going to come back and research more. And then I kept going through, and I couldn't find other ones where it was clear that there was going to be any usage soon, if ever. And I was like, holy shit. Oh, sorry. You didn't hear that. So anyway, I just, in going through that, after like a few dozen of them, I was just like, huh, I need to look more at this XRP thing. I was like, let me look a little bit more in depth, because the rest of the coins out there, like they just weren't being used for anything. It was just so fascinating to me, and to me that immediately just spoke to an asset class that was truly in its nascency, and it was just so fascinating. But that's where we're at. So anyway, all that to just say, I think that there will be an endless number of people just flowing into the space. Like, we ain't seen nothing yet. There is not that much global adoption, and a lot of the big money, it's really still sitting on the sideline, despite the awesome adoption we admittedly have seen over the last month or so, or not month, year is what I meant to say. So take it for what it's worth, but I am here for the long haul. I am optimistic. My plan for this market cycle is, as things pump up, I intend to sell most, if not all, of my cryptocurrency holdings, and then once the market tops, I believe that there will be a big crash, and then I will dollar cost average on the way back down. We'll be in a bear market for a few years, and I hope you guys still choose to hang out with me, because I'm going to be here. I'm still going to be running this Moon Lambo channel with a silly-ass name, because this is fun, and the most important time to pay attention to markets is when they're down. That's when people are bailing out, and data shows that's a horrendous idea. Think back to the financial collapse, 2008 and 2009. Everybody, they just couldn't take it anymore. Oh my gosh, my savings are down, whatever. I can't remember how much it dropped, 30, 40%, whatever it was. Big drop for the stock market. Insane for the stock market. You see that on crypto regularly, but for the stock market, people are just losing their minds. Like, no, I can't take the pain. I'm crying, uncle. I'm out. But what happened? It reversed, didn't it? And now we're seeing today all-time highs. So the fact that there was extreme fear at that time, it was never the case that it was going to be an extreme fear forever, unless you thought that the United States economy was going to collapse and never come back, which would have meant the end of America. Like, that's ridiculous. Of course that wasn't going to happen, right? So anyway, all that's, again, just, I encourage you. I'm not you do what you want with your money. I'm not telling you what you do, but I'm just saying, during the bear market, whenever it does come, pay attention, right? But I'll wrap it there. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the Moon Lambo.